Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Wednesday morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing awesome out there this morning and having a wonderful start to your day and a great week out there so far. Here to bring you the latest information that we have on many things in this morning's video. We're going to give you an update on the tropics, though, first, like we've been doing. This will take up most of the video as we're going to go over all the latest information that we have as far as model guidance. We'll talk about what's going on right now, latest from the National Hurricane Center, and really, as we're going over model guidance, we're really focusing in on the Caribbean and eventually into the Gulf of Mexico. But I think the beginnings of whatever we got that's coming up, it's going to definitely come out of the Western Caribbean. So, we've been talking about it. If you've been tuning in over the last few videos, especially in yesterday morning's video, models are starting to latch on to something getting going here in the Caribbean. And it has me a little bit concerned because the model guidance is so loud on it, meaning the signal is pretty high right now. We just need to figure out the timeline. We need to figure out what's going to happen. Of course, there's nothing going on in the Western Caribbean right at this moment, but that'll change over the next several days. So we're going to go over all the latest information that we have, and we'll speak on an environment that could be there once this gets going to support gradual strengthening. And then we'll talk about steering currents a little bit too, and how I think regardless of whatever forms down here in the Caribbean, I think it's going to get pulled northward, whether it's going to be quick, slow. I think that it at least will get pulled northward, whether it's northwest, straight north, northeast. I think it is going to impact land, whether it's just a weak tropical wave or, worst case scenario, a major hurricane. So we're going to speak on that. After we get done doing all that, we are going to talk about what's going to happen weather-wise across the entire lower 48 for your day. And at the very end of the video, I am going to speak a little bit on the Climate Prediction Center, as a lot of people are wondering, especially up north, like the Great Lakes region, when is summer going to end? And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below. So let's get going here. Let's make sure this is working as always. And it is. We just don't need to use black. This right here is the remnants, I guess you would say, of Gordon. It does have a chance to redevelop, but this is pretty much all we're going to talk about it. But this was kind of the leftovers of Gordon out here, chilling out here in the North Atlantic, not really bothering anybody, but did just want to circle this on the map because this did used to be a tropical system. So let's get this back off. The main area we are watching, and there's nothing going on right now, by the way, is this area right here. We're expecting a chance for tropical development over the next 7 days. In fact, the National Hurricane Center says, hey, there's a 20% chance of a tropical depression or a named storm developing here over the next 7 days. Now, as we progress day by day, I do think they'll bump it up percentage-wise. I think, by the time we maybe get into tomorrow, this could be up to a 30 to 40% chance. I mean, maybe even by the end of the day, it could be up to that. But I think that whatever's going to get going down here is not really going to actually have a chance to develop into a depression or a named storm until sometime next week, maybe late next week. So we're going to be talking about this for a while, unless model guidance just completely, disappears on this signal, and that could happen. But this is the main area we're going to be watching, and then after that, we got to watch if whatever gets going right here goes this way, or heck, maybe even this way. So this is the heavy topic, this zone down here with the tropics. Now, I do want to mention, the remnants of PTC-8 still just kind of up here. I would say the actual quote-unquote center of the storm is probably still over the Carolinas, but we still got just kind of rounds of rain just kind of slinging around this thing right now, but not really a huge storyline anymore like it was a couple days ago. So that's what's going on right now. In the tropics, we take a look at the actual update from the National Hurricane Center. Let's see if we have another update. We don't. And there it is. It says, remnants of Gordon. Showers and thunderstorms remain disorganized over the central tropical Atlantic in association with the remnants of Gordon. So something could potentially redevelop from this, but it's not really even much to focus on at all. But this is the main focus here, even though, 60 to 20 is a big difference. You would think it's not as big of a deal, but 20% chance to develop. And remember, we talked about yesterday that we thought the National Hurricane Center would introduce an area of interest, and that's exactly what happened. It doesn't fool anybody, it doesn't surprise anybody because the model guidance was so loud on this area, and it continues to be. But we have a 20% chance of tropical development within the next 7 days in the Western Caribbean. Okay, you can read the discussion right there. Slow development into early next week is possible with this, and then it will eventually try to move north. So what that means when I say a chance of development, that means there's a 20% chance in this case of a tropical depression or a named storm forming, or maybe just the infamous PTC, potential tropical cyclone, which Mitch, by the way, is not a big fan of that, all that craziness. I think it just confuses the heck out of the public. But this is the latest from the National Hurricane Center. So let's go over all the model, guys. The first thing we're going to start off with is the GFS. We're going to go through the GFS, the Euro AI model, the Canadian Icon, etc., the ensemble guidance. And we're going to start all these off for Saturday morning, September the 21st. So not right now, Saturday morning. So GFS first. This model's hot off the press, the latest morning GFS run. Saturday morning, we get into Sunday morning, still not a whole lot going on. Weak lows showing up here in the Caribbean. We get into Monday morning, still really not a whole lot going on now. Just remember, the next name is Helene, the H name. That system that developed off the coast of the Carolinas and eventually made landfall never took a name. I know that I was a little confusing in the thumbnails and when I was talking in the videos. We all thought that was going to take the next name, but it never developed a full-fledged low-level circulation, okay? And we'll stop right there. So the next name is technically still the H name. It is still the H name, which is Helene. Next name after that is Isaac. So this system up here off the coast of the eastern U.S. could do something weird and take a name. So regardless, just remember the next two names are Helene and Isaac, okay? I don't think we need to talk about a third name right now. Okay, so we keep going here. Monday morning, just still got a big blob of green, pockets of yellow and orange down there. We get into Tuesday morning. We start to develop a little bit more organization, I would say, okay? We get into Wednesday morning. At this point, we're 1 week from today. We have this massive area of low pressure hanging out over areas of the Yucatan Peninsula, yeah, the Bay of Campeche. Part of it's in the Gulf of Mexico. Part of it's still in the Western Caribbean. Huge area of spin right here. It looks very disorganized, but it does deepen this into a 999 millibar low, which to me would tell me this is probably a tropical storm. And then we start to get into next Thursday morning. We're 8 days from now, and I know it gets kind of muffled here. But, you know, we take it all the way to about next Thursday, midday, September the 26th, 204 hours out. All right, we have a 988 millibar low, which would be a strong tropical storm category 1 hurricane making landfall into the panhandle of Florida. I will say model guidance has ticked a little bit west over the last 24 hours. I would say that right now, but that could tick back and forth. As we know, we're still talking long range here. But I can tell you this is a weaker run compared to the last several GFS runs, but it still has a tropical system moving right into the panhandle of Florida in a large area. This thing looks huge, like a huge tropical storm low in category 1 hurricane. It could have a huge moisture field with this, makes landfall, then slings a bunch of moisture throughout the entire southeast, but just way too far out to really talk about all the specifics on all the rainfall that has the potential to fall across the southeast, okay? Now, what about the Canadian model? Same thing, start off Saturday morning. We take it into Sunday morning, just a big blob of green down there in the Caribbean, south of Cuba. We take it into Monday morning, same thing, just a big area of green, nothing consolidating. We take it into Tuesday morning, big blob of green, a little bit bigger than the last blob. All right, we take it into Wednesday morning. I mean, we got a lot of tropical moisture over the Yucatan Peninsula, the Bay of Campeche, still the Caribbean. Nothing is coming together. We are 1 week from today. Okay, we get into Thursday morning. Tries to develop some sort of low all the way over here in the Bay of Campeche. We get into Friday morning. Folks, we're 9 days from now, September the 27th. And just a weak low in the Bay of Campeche. And we take it all the way out to next Friday evening. The Euro says, nope, nothing is going to develop. Okay, we just have a weak low in the Bay of Campeche. Now, let's look at the Euro AI model. This model has done well, and forgive me for not showing this as much because it has done well. But the Euro AI model, which is kind of a new model, kind of a new kid on the block, if you will, does show something. Saturday morning, we get into Sunday morning, nothing. Monday morning, nothing. Okay, Tuesday morning, we're starting to develop some sort of organization of this low. It's a 1,008 millibar low. And then we take it into Wednesday morning, 1 week from today, 1,005 millibar low. We take it into Thursday morning. Now we have a tropical storm just north of the Yucatan Peninsula. We get into Friday morning. Look how far west this is. We have a hurricane in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, quite literally, right smack in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. 986 millibar, a Category 1 hurricane most likely. And then we take it all the way to past 10 days. I mean, all the way until like the beginning of next weekend. And we have a hurricane making landfall just about in the same spot that Francine made landfall, except it's kind of coming from a different direction as a Category 1, maybe low-end Category 2 hurricane. And then it just slings a bunch of moisture across the southeast. So Euro AI model shows something. So at this point, we're two for three for models having a landfalling tropical system into the Gulf of Mexico. Canadian, which has been showing this, I want to add, for a while now. So if something does end up happening like this, well, we do have a tropical system hitting the Gulf of Mexico. You got to tip your hat to the Canadian model here. Saturday morning, getting to Sunday morning, nothing. We get into Monday morning, there it is, developing in the Caribbean. We get into Tuesday morning, already with a tropical storm in the Western Caribbean, and next Tuesday morning, 6 days from now. We get into Wednesday morning. This is developing quickly all the way into a hurricane 1 week from today in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. And then this takes us all the way to about a 980 millibar low. Not an overly strong hurricane, thank goodness. But of course, this isn't a conclusion. We don't know if this is exactly what's going to happen. But it makes a landfall as a hurricane about a week, about 7 to 7.5 days from now into the Panhandle of Florida. It's about a Category 1 hurricane, and once again, throws a bunch of moisture across the southeast. And that's something we're going to have to pay attention to once we get a handle on if this is actually going to develop. And then the icon from last night, all right? Saturday morning, this coming Sunday morning, blob of green down there. Monday morning, starting to develop it, all right? Whatever develops here goes over the Yucatan Peninsula. Tuesday morning, and then we get into all the way about a week from today. And man, this is a way different scenario, right? All right, Wednesday morning, 1 week from today, this has a developing tropical storm in kind of the, I would say, central to west central Gulf of Mexico, way over here. All right, so there's a wide variety here, right? Big differences one way or the other. Euro is very conservative. Some models are further west. Some models are closer to Florida. But man, I want you to check out, regardless, the common theme I'm seeing here is the broad nature of whatever's going to develop, how broad it will be. And I can already tell you my cursor is not going to work, so we might not be able to draw much on this video. But anyways, none of that matters too much right now. This is a pretty broad system, okay? And I'm starting to think that at minimum is going to be the case with this system. Is I think a big storyline might be the broad nature of this tropical system. So we keep on going here, and we look at the ensemble guidance, and this is from the European. So this is the EPS, and we're just going to take this 1 week out. And really, the origins of this is coming from what we call a CAG. CAG stands for Central American Gyrum, which is basically just a big, broad area of low pressure that quite literally just chills over Central America. And then sometimes you get some consolidation of some energy on either the Atlantic side or the Pacific side, and this kind of organization can eventually develop into an all-out tropical system. It happens yearly. I mean, every single hurricane season. So this screams CAG to me, CAG, because you got weird low pressures over here, you got them way over here, and we actually go all the way to 240 hours out, which is 10 days out, by the way. And look how you got members way over here in the Bay of Campeche. You got some members coming up and cruising and hitting Florida way over here. That's a pretty wide area right in here. And we got some just kind of getting jammed up down here in the down here in the Western Caribbean. I'm going to talk about why it does that here in a second. And then this is the GEFS ensemble. Makes up 21 members. This is only a week out. Once again, a lot of members over here. We got members getting jammed in the Western Caribbean. We got a few stragglers way over here. Okay, so there's a pretty wide variety here. Like, there's just a wide solution, very broad. And same thing, we'll take this 240 hours out. It's probably going to look even crazier. It does. We got some strong members going way over here. We got a lot of strong members going right over Florida. We got some members getting, off the coast of the southeast, hanging out and getting to the southwest Atlantic. So just wild model guidance here, okay? Especially where this is going. I think there's going to be a big slug of moisture down here regardless. It's just, where does it go? That's a big question here. And I think regardless, and what stinks is I'm not going to be able to draw on this. Sometimes my my drawer over here, if you will, kind of glitches out and it won't let me do it. It kind of lets me do it there. But so I'm not going to be able to draw on this much, guys. That's my fault for not being a little bit more prepared and making sure it was working. I did restart my computer, so I don't know why it's doing that this morning. But anyways, we'll start this off for a Sunday morning. Okay, and we're going to look at the GFS. Low pressure right here. What you're looking at here is winds about 35 to 40,000 feet up in the air, 200 millibars. So way up in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And we talk about this a lot. And I want you to go to we're going to go to right here. So this is next Monday evening. This is our low pressure developing in the Western Caribbean. What I want you to notice here is if you look closely, you see these lines right here with little arrowheads embedded into it. You know, you got these, and I'm going to do my best to draw on this because it is tearing my nerves up that I cannot draw on this. If you look right here, okay, nah, it ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. All right, I appreciate it. That's sarcasm. I don't appreciate it. But you got the low pressure here. If you notice, these lines with arrowheads embedded into them are slashing out like this way, and then they'll come down here, and then they'll kind of go like this, and then they'll kind of go like that. And yeah, they're just rotating like this around this low pressure in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And the low levels of the atmosphere, these low pressures in the northern hemisphere, rotate cyclonically. So in the low levels of the atmosphere, it's rotating like this. In the upper levels of the atmosphere, it's rotating the other way, anti-cyclonically. What does that do? Well, that allows for like a ventilation cycle, ventilation system almost for these systems, divergence aloft. So air is rising up through this system, and then it gets kind of dispersed outward. It allows for more air to rise, that gets dispersed outward. So I think that this system is going to have a massive, what we call ULAC over it, upper level anticyclone. So this is going to act as a continuous promoter for rising air. Rising air allows for shower and storm activity. Shower and storm activity helps to enhance a moist environment for these tropical systems, which they like. And this environment continues right through here. It gets kind of weird once you get into the Gulf of Mexico, but in general, this looks like for the life of the system, this has air being dispersed out away from the system. Now, I might encounter some shear in the Gulf of Mexico, but that's just a little bit too far out to really talk about. Now, this is when it really stinks that, no, not doing all that. This is when it really stinks. This video is everywhere, by the way. I apologize, but I'm just going to keep rolling here. This is when it really stinks that I cannot draw on this map. It really does. So, this blue area is low pressure. This orange area is high pressure. Flow around this low pressure goes like this. Okay, goes like this. Flow around this high pressure goes like that. Okay, goes like this. So our system down here is so weak by Sunday morning that it's not even popping off an area of low pressure, which would show up in the blue, but it's right here. Okay. Originally, hey Rocket, this trough was looking like it was going to extend way down here and maybe yank this system into the southwest Atlantic. Okay, but it looks like this trough is sort of heading on out, or it's hanging out over there. It's just not close enough to this system to really influence the pattern. So you notice all this white right here? This tells me that there's a pretty stagnant airflow out here. There's nothing really yanking anything one way or the other. So I think that that's why this just kind of slowly drifts into, and let's actually look at the GFS here. It's a better example here. Low pressure forming right there. There it is. Low pressure here. There is a little bit of flow around this ridge kind of going like this. But in general, just a very weak flow out here. In fact, maybe some troughing over here could yank on this system. But this just kind of gradually drifts into the Gulf of Mexico and then makes landfall. It's kind of an easy route. It really is. I mean, there's no flow right here, and then it just kind of drifts northward, and that is our broad area of low pressure right here, just kind of going right into the Gulf of Mexico. So my intention was not for that presentation, the nerding out portion of the video, to be that sloppy, but it really kills me when I cannot draw on this. It does this every once in a while. I don't know why. Oh, now it's working. Oh, okay. So now it's going to work. All right. Yeah, this is just... makes me just want to kind of go back over it all over again, but we're not. So we'll just chalk that up as an L. But speaking on weather back home, folks, the big storyline right now is this big spin, delivering some storms across northern North Dakota. We got a lot of rain, beneficial rain falling across areas in Montana, flooding rain in some cases. kind of this tail whipping area of shower and storm activity across the plains. We got some rain kind of just drifting around across the mid-Atlantic, a little bit of activity across the Carolinas, and we got some Gulf moisture off the coast of Florida down here also. So watches, warnings, and advisories. Red flag warnings are up for areas of the Dakotas, Nebraska. High wind warnings, high wind watches are up for areas of the high plains of Wyoming and then Montana. We do have the heat advisories that are back, unfortunately, for southern Florida. We got winter weather advisories up for the Sierra Nevada. So, excessive rainfall outlook, a slight risk for Montana. So, you do have that risk of flooding. This is ongoing right now. That means you have a 15% chance of flash flooding, of rainfall reaching flash flood guidance within 25 miles in a given location. And then the Storm Prediction Center, all right, a slight risk right here across the plains. And then we got a marginal risk that very skinny that extends all the way to Lubbock, Texas, all the way up to the Canadian-U.S. border. Slight risk right here in the middle, level 2 out of 5, including the Sioux Falls, Sioux Cities area, and then including some states here. So there is a 2% risk of a tornado in this green area within 25 miles in a given location, 15% risk of winds exceeding 55 to 60 miles per hour, and a 15% chance of hail exceeding 1 inch in diameter or larger. So, but talking about the southeast first, all in all, guys, not a super active weather day. We're just going to have some storms that could drift across Florida, even across southeast Georgia and eastern Georgia. We could get some widespread storms across South Carolina for today. Could get quite stormy along the PD, Grand Strand. You guys have gotten a lot of rain already, but could get more this afternoon, this evening. Could get some more downpours that drift across North Carolina. I think most of the deep south is going to be pretty dry today, but you know, Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, even up into Virginia, some showers and storms are certainly likely for today. Now up here in the Northeast, a little bit more of unsettled weather. You guys have had a nice stretch of weather. It's been pretty warm. But as we're getting into about midday, early afternoon, showers will be drifting around the Tidewater, Delmarva, New Jersey. Rain will make it all the way up to NYC. We could get some storms as kind of a low pressure is around that will sling some, you know, moderate and maybe at times heavy rain into the Jersey coastline. Delaware, definitely a rainy day. And by the time we are getting into, say, the middle of the night tonight, this rain will try to make it all the way into Long Island, southern New England. Could get some showers all the way back to western New York, western PA. And then we make it all the way into tomorrow morning. And just kind of the same deal, just a little bit further north. Just waking up to some showers, some cloudiness, some dampness along the big cities here from DC all the way up to potentially Boston. So not a big deal, not a whole lot of rain, but definitely could get some rain for sure. The south central U.S., we take it to a midday, not a whole lot going on. We're getting into this evening. Could get some storms firing, could be strong to severe. If they do get going down here in Kansas, even the panhandle of Oklahoma, down the Woodard, Amarillo, some storms are possible, some downpours. Could get an isolated downpour down here in south central Texas, but not very widespread at all. And none of this is really widespread at all. So it's, if you do get a storm across the plains, it could hit strong to severe limits, but I don't expect widespread action at all. North central U.S., you know, this area has a slight risk, but the HRRR model, the HRRR model says, you know, hardly nothing is going to develop. It does finally show something later this evening. Could get a little bit of action right here in this area. Maybe. We'll see what happens here. But, you know, not expecting widespread activity. It's just be aware if you do get hit by a storm today, it could pack one heck of a punch. So some widespread heavy rain can develop overnight tonight into the wee hours of the morning in central Minnesota. This could drift into northeast Minnesota by the time we get into daybreak tomorrow. Could be waking up to some shower and storm activity in Iowa. Also, out west, a lot of rain will continue to fall across the northern Rockies, Montana, on the Intermountain West. I mean, especially the northern sections, really mainly the northern sections. We'll get some moisture across the Sierra Nevada in the form of some rain, higher elevation snow. But look at all this rain across Montana. Bighorn Mountains will get some snow today. And then finally, by the time we get into tomorrow, this will relax a little bit. But look how much more rain you guys can get over the next 24 hours. Maybe another 2 to as much as 4 inches of rain. And yes, some snow could fall too out here. Higher elevations, several inches of snow. Somebody could get a foot. So temperatures today, it's warm. I mean, the general theme is warm, not blistering hot, but warm everywhere. The only areas that stay cool, like you see this pocket here, is areas that are getting cloud cover, some rain. But if you weren't getting that, it'll get well into the 80s. I mean, it's well into the 80s into Maine. Look, check out New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, up here to Quebec. Ontario, 70s, 80s. Yeah, I mean, it's into the 80s in the Great Lakes region. So, I mean, it's pretty warm out here, guys. And I mean, there is a cutoff here, but I mean, even out west, it's starting to warm up. Not as cool as it was, but I mean, the cool spot certainly is the Rockies. And I mean, it is cool out west. I mean, the valleys of California is really nice. The Southwest is cooler than average. The South Central U.S. is pretty hot, getting well into the 90s again. And yeah, that's temperatures. Now, I will tell you, a lot of people are wondering, Mitch, when are we going to get back to fall? And my question is, my answer is, I don't see it anytime soon, guys. It looks like most of the country, to kind of round off September, is going to be warm. And this is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, the 23rd to the 27th. Unfortunately, and I've heard a lot of complaints up here in the Great Lakes region, unfortunately, it still remains warm. And if you're wondering what's causing this, there's just a persistent ridging over Canada that's, pretty much over areas of the northern terrain of the country too. And the only thing that's keeping the southeast and eastern U.S. to near normal is just rain and cloud cover. Trust me, we're not getting nice fall crisp air down here in the southeast. It's just humid, it's kind of one of those days where the dew points are in the 60s and highs are in the 70s. It's not that comfortable. I mean, it's nice. It's just cooler temperatures, but the entire country looks warm. And I mean, even when you go to the I hate to say it, we go all the way out to October 1st, it looks about the same. It does. So if you're wondering, Mitch, when are we going to have a big cool down? Well, I'll kind of go over this sometime later this week, probably. I think I lied to you guys and told you I was going to go over a breakdown of the pattern to come a few days back. But I'm going to try to fit it in here in the coming days. Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights are busy. My Tuesday nights will be opened up soon here in the next couple weeks. But, I'm not seeing any big cold fronts. I'll be honest with you. I'm not seeing any huge, massive cold fronts coming that's going to cool down most of the country. That could change. We'll continue to search for it. But yeah, that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. Sorry for the messiness talking about the tropics when my cursor not working. It decides it wants to work right at the end. So some videos are just going to be like that. God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you again soon.